We are going live in 5, 3, 2, 1. Hey!
Welcome to the Public Speaking Experts Podcast with Elliot Kay and Jose Ucar. Every week we bring the tips, tools, and strategies for you to become a world-class public speaker. We bring you guests, experts, and authorities in the field of public speaking to enrich you and enhance your public speaking journey. Remember to subscribe, rate, and comment. And now, please welcome your hosts, Elliot and Jose.
What? Yes. Jose.
Hola.
We are back. What a break. We've taken a break. We've taken more of a break. Then we took a bit more of a break.
What a break you've taken, buddy. What a break you've taken. I've been here. I haven't been anywhere but working. Just holding,
you don't get to throw
holding
that at
the
me,
fort.
I'm
for
going
all
on holiday.
the public speakers out there.
Holiday.
I've been speaking my greatness. Look at my hair.
Yeah,
I'm all
right.
messy because I've been just
You've been
working
sleeping your greatness.
I've been sleeping my greatness as well. I did a bit of that today. Yes. But hey,
Yes.
I'm back and I'm here. And I'm not going to lie about it. I also did something though. I mean, look at my button. I never do this one up, but I did it because of our guest today.
Oh, really? You did your button up. Now, for those listening, he's actually got his button. He looks a bit chavvy, really. He looks a bit... Anyway, we won't go there right now, and we'll explain in a minute.
Imagine I'm Venezuelan, Elliot, and I'm going to start by saying that is a bit racist. I'm going to say, okay? So over to you. I'll leave you with that one.
How does being called a bit chavvy translate to racist? I think every episode you somehow call me a racist.
Because you always play that card. Yeah, you give me the alert.
I think this is very alarming, right? Because I'm a bit
sound
scared.
The alarm.
So what I'm going to do now is
carry on with the introduction.
No.
Yeah, please.
I'm not speaking now.
Well, welcome to the Public
accuse me
Speaking
of being
Experts podcast. Yeah, well, be careful. I mean, nowadays it is a very sensitive and it's also sensible and all of those things. So be careful calling me that, especially because I'm Venezuelan and
That's not what I said at all. One day someone's going to crop all the clips, put them together, release them, and then I'm going to get cancelled, and it'll be your fault. I hope you realize that.
And it's going to be, what is the podcast about? Racist, racist.
Yeah, welcome to the Public Speaking Racist podcast. You need to stop pulling that card. Like, you need to just stop using that. And I can't believe
you need to stop calling me names.
Shall we flip it?
Look,
let's flip it.
Yeah, let's flip it and see what happens. Flip it.
You're only saying that because I'm Jewish.
Oh.
You're so racist.
Finally.
You're only accusing me of being
Yeah.
racist because I'm Jewish. Yeah, and Rachel. What have you got against Rachel?
No, I haven't got anything against Rachel. I do have everything against you, buddy. And we're going to talk about that on the next podcast. We're going to call it Why Jose is Being Racist.
Okay, let's do this. So, Rachel, welcome to the Madness as the Public Speaking Expert podcast.
Woo.
Thank you very much.
And on today's podcast, I'm super excited. We have a stylist with over 25 years experience of styling celebrities, both in the celebrity world, in the business world, in the TV world, in the theater world, never in the podcasting world. So today we have an exceptional opportunity to learn how to dress to impress as a speaker and how to influence the audience through what you wear. And I'm very excited. I've had the pleasure of working with Rachel Gold, for those who need a last name. And she is gold. She is gold with her tips, with her advice, with her videos, with her Instagram, with her TikTok, with her knowledge, with her humility, and just as an incredible, amazing human being. Rachel, welcome to the Public Speaking Expert podcast. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. I've had a great summer. It has been super busy because actually I think what happens in the summer, although I normally have a certain amount of work, all of the other stylists, they all go away on holiday, whereas I'm a workaholic and I stay here and I get all of their work.
Oh, brilliant. Unlike Jose, who always goes away, right? Jose
I got so many of Elliot's clients since he's been away. He always takes this break every year. So I know exactly when he's going away, and I just get hold of all of them. Oh, yeah, Jose, we want to work with you. You're much cooler.
That's a racist thing to say.
Oh no, not the racist.
I know we need to nip that in the bud. So I hope you're not too put off by the madness that is the beginning of the Public Speaking Expert podcast. We're super excited to have you here. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a celeb stylist? And, you know, because I've had the pleasure of working with you, and I've seen your Instagram videos. I'm not on Instagram anymore. I think we all know why, because they're scumbags, but that's not the matter. And but I've seen your TikTok videos, and I know you, and I know your eye, and I know your ear for style. So tell us a little bit about how you arrived here.
I have been a stylist. I guess I've been a stylist since I was about 10, from styling my mum's dog to the neighbors next door, to going to jumble sales, which of course the word jumble sales is so old now that a lot of young people don't know what that means. It means
Jose, do you know what that
shopping
means?
and getting the clothes, altering them and putting them on everyone. I went to New York when I was 19 and I worked with a record label, and basically I was a singer myself. So I used to style myself and then everyone on the label as well. So that's kind of like really my early journeys into style and fashion. Interestingly, my father actually used to dress my mother rather than the other way round. And she had the most fantastic wardrobe full of the most divine clothes. And I always used to go with them whenever they'd go shopping. So I guess that's where I got my first kind of inspiration into clothing, and actually the impact that clothing can make.
Wow. So by the way, Jose, just, you know, jumble sales isn't a dish at McDonald's. It's where people used to get together and sell things. All like it's a bit like eBay, but in real life. And people have tables, and just, you know, in case you thought it was like a Big Mac or something like that. I mean, you are from Venezuela, so I wouldn't expect you to know.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm also very young, so I wouldn't know what jumbo sales are. Do they still do jumbo sales?
Not really. The car boot sales still exist. I haven't seen much of a jumble sale lately. Have you?
No. I mean, look, they still have them in church halls. And of course, now it's all very trendy to go thrift shopping and to go secondhand shopping and to repurpose clothes, which is, you know, part of what I do actually within my services. I actually take people's clothes away and then either give them to other clients, or we do swaps, or I sell them for them. So, you know, it's all about really being conscious of what we do with our clothing and how we style it, you know, how you can put it together. Because it's shocking to actually discover that 80% of the time people are only wearing 20% of their clothing. You know, and this
I remember
includes
you
the
telling me that.
celebrities. You know, when I'm dressing celebrities, they get given so much stuff that it just goes into the abyss, you know, the huge mountain of clothing. So, you know, styling and the way that you style yourself and the impact that you make on the world by what you wear is so important. And I think a lot of people really are not aware of that, particularly when you're doing things like public speaking or interviews or something that's really important where you need to make an impact.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Jose's wardrobe, he's really only got one or two things. So he's not included in this conversation. But for the rest of us to have more than, you know, more items of clothing, it's probably 80% of his wardrobe is that top. And the other 20 is a long sleeve version of it.
I do my bottom up and sometimes I don't. So it makes a huge difference.
I see that he's got the top button, so he's in the top button club. And he's also wearing a very good color for him. So that's important.
You see, we're going to get into that in a minute. But before we get into it, on a serious note right now, I remember when we did some work together and you talked about how clothes influence confidence. And I remember us kind of, you know, when we were working on your speech, on your intro, and that fascinated me because I remember particularly the presenter you're working with, who was very established, who was very accomplished, yet every single day she was turning up to work with anxiety and stressed out, and she was insecure. It might be a him. You can correct me. It might be a him in their own skin. And you talked about how by changing what they wore, the anxiety went down, and they actually became much more comfortable in front of a camera. And this is someone that's highly established and highly recognized. We're not going to say names today, not in this instance anyway. But tell us about that. I mean, tell us, because I know this from working with speakers, that they wear what's on brand and they wear kind of what's expected of them. So tell us the impact of wearing something and the impact that has on your confidence, and why is that so?
Look, there's a lot of this holding on to things. A lot of people cling to clothes that no longer fit them or suit them because the association with the certain item may be something that's good or it may be something that's bad. The majority of people don't actually know what their body shape is, and that's both for women and men. So then they're wearing clothes that don't suit them, that they feel uncomfortable in. So when they wake up in the morning, the first thing that they want to do is get ready, but actually they've got all other things on their mind, but they can't find anything to wear because they actually don't have anything in their wardrobe that will go together well because it's the wrong size or because it's the wrong color. And so this leveling of anxiety immediately starts as soon as they wake up and they go to their wardrobe and think, right, what shall I wear? I can't find anything to wear. Oh, hang on, I'll grab that tent. So they then end up wearing something. Normally it's black, even though we're in a world of color at the moment. Normally it's something that's the wrong size. So then they leave the house not feeling as confident as they should do. So this kind of ricochets off into their behavior because they're wearing something they don't feel confident in. They then look at others and think, do I look bad? Do they look good? Why aren't people talking to me? Why is someone always talking to them? Or is it because they look better than me? So there's all this comparison. And when we can actually discover, A, what our body shape is, what size suits us, what fits us well, this will automatically improve our confidence. It's a matter of actually finding your own identity rather than looking at someone on a magazine or looking at someone else in the office or someone else on stage and thinking, I want to look like them. The important thing is to look like yourself and the best version of yourself. So how do we do this? That's the next question, isn't it?
No, that's not the next question, but we will get to how we do this. The next question is going to be, so how
Hold
much
on a
of this
second.
is...
My next question, quickly, Rachel. How would you describe Elliot's body shape? I'm very curious about that. Is it like
Well,
odd?
Elliot at the moment is sitting down, so I can't see. I'll answer in that way.
But the question I was going to ask before I had that question, how much of these thoughts are conscious, or is it predominantly unconscious, the thoughts, as in the comparison program, they're looking better than me? I mean, because again, you see this in really what a lot of our listeners would see peak performers, people at the top of their game that really dress great. I know you've worked with a particularly famous car racer, right? One of the best in the world. Yeah. How much of these kind of insecurities are very conscious thoughts versus unconscious in your experience?
It depends who we're speaking about. Women tend to look at these things very differently than men. The market is massive now for men's clothing anyway. And to be fair, I think that men get an easier job of it because with a guy, you've got a suit, you've got a shirt, you've got a tie, you've got some knitwear and some casual trousers. Whereas with women, there's all this other elaborate stuff that goes on, with jewelry and with accessories. Right. And, my big question to people is always, who are you actually dressing for? I think that we know scientifically that generally women are dressing for women, even though they've always said, oh, no, I'm dressing for guys or I'm dressing for someone, of the same sex who I'm attracted to. But actually, it's not true. Women are dressing for women, and women can be incredibly critical of each other and self-deprecating, whereas a guy will say, yeah, okay, I'll just put that t-shirt on, and it's the same t-shirt he's been wearing since he was sort of like 19, and there's no one to tell him, hey, that doesn't really look good, you shouldn't really be wearing that. But as I said, I do think it's easier for men to dress, and I think consciously or subconsciously, depends what business you're in. If you're in the entertainment business, generally you're dressed by someone else anyway, so you don't have that problem. You have the natural insecurities of being on stage and of wanting to be on stage and of wanting to be loved by others, so that within itself can create a whole set of issues. when you're in an office, it depends who you're surrounded by. If you've got particularly stylish people around you, sometimes you can copy them and you can get the same effect, which is a good thing. But it really does depend what your own experience is of clothes. Sometimes someone's been told by their parents, oh, don't get dressed up like that. You look ridiculous, or don't wear this, or don't wear that, or you shouldn't wear this. So there are a lot of these sort of childhood things that have a huge effect, and we can actually spend our whole life trying to recover from those things.
Right. So what you're saying, it's a bit of a blend, really, and it can be industry specific as well as gender specific when it comes down to these thoughts, this comparison program. When we come to speakers, right, and I'll hand over to Jose in a minute. When it comes to speakers and how speakers dress, something I emphasize when I work with people and I work with speakers is the importance of detail, how everything matters. And I think that a lot of speakers don't spend enough time working out what really magnifies them on stage and what actually swallows them up on stage. Because again, when we get into the how, you're going to give some of these tips away. But I know, for example, in certain colors, when you're on a big stage, your face will disappear slightly versus magnify, but also what you wear, the shiny objects, not shiny objects, the kind of color, the shape of your body will all be altered according to what you wear. And in your experience as a stylist, having worked with people who speak, do you find that speakers don't give this enough attention, or are you finding the ones you work with are really conscious of it?
I think it depends culturally who we're speaking about. The Americans, I think, have a totally different way of dressing. And I think sometimes people leave this to the very last moment. They're so involved in what they're going to be talking about, and they're so involved in the nerves of it and the anxiety, that the very last thing they think of is, oh, quick, what am I going to wear? The mistake that a lot of women make is that they wear shoes that are too high. So they're staggering onto the stage and they're feeling uncomfortable.
And it's really uncomfortable. So if they're doing a long talk, right.
Yeah, and I mean, and quite frankly, if you're wearing very high heels, it completely and totally changes your posture immediately, then, rather than if you're wearing flats. So, all of this is body language as well. Same thing with guys. You get guys and they'll run out and they'll buy a suit and the suit doesn't fit them properly. It would be so much better to go to the shops, buy a suit, take it to a tailor or to somewhere where they can alter it and get it to fit you properly. Because otherwise, you're schlocking across the stage, in a huge suit. And rather than looking dapper and put together, you're looking sort of a little bit like the honey monster going across the stage. And that doesn't work either. Although within saying that, look at people, how they behave if they get invited to a fancy dress party. That is a really important note. Someone will say, oh, I'm going to fancy dress, and they get all dressed up in something that is almost like their alter ego. So that can work too. It just needs a little bit of time to put into, what you are going to wear, looking at yourself in the mirror, filming yourself on your phone, and just getting to grips with what you feel really comfortable in. But it does take some time.
Yeah. Brilliant. Jose, you're very quiet.
Rachel, thank you so much, because there's so much to unpack. So I'll tell you briefly.
Okay.
I'm going through my second marriage. And the difference, apart from the nationalities and everything else, from my first wife to my second wife, which I think has got a lot to do. My first wife, she was Spanish from the north, and her parents were Germanic, if you like, and Swedish from the north of that part of the world. And then my current wife, she's Colombian. So based on everything that you've said, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I thought I was buying clothes that would work for me, mainly based on how comfortable I felt. But then when I met my current wife, she used to say to me every time, you look like like a cartoon character, because my pants, potentially my trousers, were too baggy, or my shirt wasn't matching something exactly. So just like that. And then I started really becoming more conscious about how I was, dressing, because in my mind it was about being comfortable, and then I felt confident in them. But now going through this process where I need to, I dress up a bit more, I take care because she's educated me. As I said, I didn't know, which is also what you do. You're helping people because sometimes we don't know. But then I get to the point, two elements that are key for me. And I'm going to ask you the balance between being comfortable and actually showing that style. That is one thing. What would you say the right balance is? And then the other, let's answer this one, and then I'm sure there'll be some more. I've got a list of questions for you, so hopefully we get time. This is very important for everybody.
So are you saying the difference between being comfortable and being stylish?
What is the balance in that? What would you say is the balance? Because right now, I'm comfortable with this, but I'm not feeling very stylish. But for the podcast, I felt, look, I'm just gonna do my bottom up, and then I'm comfortable mainly. I wouldn't like to have a jacket today because it's very hot where I am at. But then, could I be wearing something else? Could I be wearing a t-shirt?
You're going to let her answer?
It depends what.
No, sure. No, I know. I
wearing.
just was adding some more in there, some stacks to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think look, just because something is stylish, you see, it's interesting that you asked this question. Should it be stylish or comfortable? Actually, the two shouldn't be. You shouldn't be saying, "Oh, something is stylish, so therefore it's not comfortable," unless your experience of wearing something stylish is uncomfortable. If that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm looking for is that balance, because I know there's pieces of clothes that I'm feeling great and they look good. So, but then how do you get to that point? Because I've only have a couple, maybe 5 pieces that I love. So do I repeat those, or do I need to get more?
And those pieces that you love, are they a different fabric from what you normally wear? Because, a lot of this has to do with the fabric. People think, okay, I'm going to wear something stylish, but actually maybe it's a little bit too tight or something, something along those lines. Now, it depends on what the fabric is as well, which is getting back to this story of the suit, of people buying off the peg suits, but actually then having them altered so that they fit you correctly. And then you'll feel comfortable, but you'll also look stylish. If you buy something that's too small, then obviously you're not going to be feeling comfortable, or if you buy something that's too big, it's the same thing. It's not going to look stylish. And again, you might think, oh yeah, well, that's okay because there's lots of room, but it's not actually really a comfortable feeling because it doesn't look so well.
So Rachel, great answer. Thank you. I'm still thinking in my mind.
Entirely answered that.
Well, we're getting there, because my next question is, look, when I put something on, I look at myself in the mirror, and most of the time but then my wife sees me and it's not so what is exactly going on? What's going on in the eyes of an expert? Because she's helped friends as well to get dressed. I mean, she's got very good taste. So what are the eyes? I mean, what is it that you're looking for? Well, buddy, I've got so many secrets that I'm not sharing on this call. But yes, Rachel.
Look, first of all, you must have done something right because she's your wife. So you must have done something, and you must have been wearing something pretty good at the time. So
I've been very flexible. Whatever she says, I'll try it. Flexible in terms of feedback. Yeah, Jose, try this. She renewed my wardrobe.
If you find a brand that fits you well, that you like, and that it actually fits you, it feels comfortable and it looks well, and you get compliments when you wear it and you like it, it's probably a good idea to stick to that brand, because every single brand has different sizing and they all have different shapes as well. And obviously for men's suiting, you can have a skinny suit, you can have a super skinny, you can have tailored, there's all different types of fitting. And the way to actually discover this is trial and error, very much so. Now, if you trust your wife's taste, if you trust her taste and you think that she has the right idea, then the idea probably is to repeat some of the things that you already have. So if you've got a particular piece of knitwear that you like and it's from a certain brand, generally you'll find each season they'll do the same sort of thing. They may vary it slightly, but it's unlikely that they'll completely and totally change and become similar to another brand. Generally, season by season, they'll change the color a little bit. They might change a few buttons, but it will be the same kind of fit. So I think that's a good thing. But it is a question of whether or not you trust the person who is giving you the advice. Look, it's if you want to know something about business, you're not going to go and ask someone poor, are you? You're going to go and ask someone who's very successful, so that they tell you successful and good tips. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think there's also
Elliot Kay. Elliot gets
Yeah.
very nervous when he doesn't get the chance to speak.
Yeah,
no,
and I get a bit
no,
brutal when it comes to styling, I know, but
no, I think we have to look at this objectively. It's like, would I turn to Emily, my wife, for advice on what to dress on stage, or would I turn to Rachel? Like, I think it's context driven, your question, because Anna's probably like, when you're going out, she's going, that doesn't look like, that does look nice. Or, is it also about the stage? I don't know. Like Emily does the same. I'll put something online like, oh yeah, I'm the man, I look cool. And she'll be like, and then it's like, well, who do you listen to in what situation?
yeah,
Of course, I listen to my wife.
yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that's important, right? We have to, because that's what we do as a partnership. But also, I might, for example, go to Rachel, and Rachel might say, wear this, this, and this. And Emily might go, no, I really don't like that. But I would listen to Rachel when it comes down to what to wear on stage. And hopefully Emily's enough of a forgiving person or a partner to go, okay, versus, oh my God, I can't believe you're taking her word over mine. And I think it has to be context driven, the answer to that question. No?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, for fear of really throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, I have said this to a number of my female clients. Now, okay, so you meet the guy, you're wandering along in your sexy outfit and your heels. You see the guy sees you and he's like, wow. You start dating, you get married, you have children, and you've got other things on your mind. And there's so much going on that you then may end up wearing a grey tracksuit. Not that there's anything wrong with grey, but you're wearing the grey tracksuit, and then you're slobbing around with no makeup on, and this happens with men also. He's wandering around with the custard that's dripped down his tracksuit bottoms, and then he's laying on the sofa with his feet up in the air, and then wearing a pair of dirty trainers, and so then. What happens? Who is judging who, and what are we actually doing here? Are we looking at ourselves and saying, yes, I'm going to make more of an effort? Because as a stylist, this is what I require of my clients. I just want people to make more of an effort and to feel more confident in what they're wearing and in their own decisions. Because sometimes what happens then is you come home and you say, hey, look at these wonderful clothes I've got. I look really hot and sexy. And your partner looks and thinks, oh, subconsciously, consciously, oh yeah, he looks quite good. Subconsciously, they might think, oh, hey, he looks or she looks maybe just a little bit too good. So this is a whole
I get that all the time.
conversation. Yeah, it's very complex, but I do think it's really quite important. As I said before, if you see a style and you like that and you think that looks great on you, as long as you're not having a great big row at home about what you're wearing, this is the important thing, that you trust yourself with your styling.
So no more onesies for
Rachel,
you, Jose.
yeah, no more
Yeah.
onesies. I usually like the Cookie Monster, but I don't go online with it. I only use it at home. But she gave it to me for winter. Anyway, look, I'm loving this because there's so many different, well, yeah, a variety of nuances here. I like to believe I don't like dressing up and actually thinking too much. That's why I
Yeah.
keep on looking. I like my brand. It's usually a jacket similar to Elliot's, and then I tend to go with a white t-shirt underneath,
Nice.
and then jeans. And I always like to have either white Converse or something with a white sole. And
Nice.
I feel happy doing it. I feel comfortable, and people say, yeah, it looks okay. But then my concern is, well, but I'm always wearing that, and I've seen some of my latest speaking gigs. I'm wearing similar stuff. Is that good?
Okay.
Is that bad? Should I change? And
Look,
this
I
is
mean,
for
you can
everybody out there, by
change.
the way, not just for me.
Look, you can change it up a little bit. It depends what the belt is. If you've got a belt, if you've got the same belt, maybe you want to look for a little bit, as Elliot was saying before, the detail. The devil is in the detail. Even if you get like a different type of belt, or maybe with the trainers, there's so many different types of trainers now. Maybe just go and try on a different pair. Maybe try some navy ones. That might be quite nice. And same with the jeans. As we know, jeans all change shape. But it depends what shape you're wearing, because there's no point running out then and saying, oh, okay, on trend now are these jeans and they're hanging down your bottom, like the jail jean kind of thing. There's no point wearing that if it doesn't really suit you or really fit you. And there's a very big kind of conversation about, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There is that as well. Which I do actually believe in, particularly if you think that you look great and you feel great.
I mean, I listen to Stephen Bartlett a lot, and he talks about now when he does speaking opportunity, he'll go on a tracksuit. He'll go on his tracksuit.
Yes.
Because he feels that's authentically him, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to wear things for the sake of wearing them, or put a suit on because that's expected of him, and he's got rid of a lot of his big name brand stuff because he doesn't feel the value of either wearing it or even having it. And I think it goes back to what's authentically you. You talked about who you dressing for. And, I guess that makes him far more comfortable on stage wearing a tracksuit than he would if he's wearing an Armani suit. I'd rather wear an Armani suit, but that's me. That's my choice. Right. But that's just a choice. Right. And I think there's definitely a kind of a movement towards casual wear on stage in certain arenas, like entrepreneurial arenas, and definitely in the tech space. If you're wearing a suit, they're very wary of you. So you're actually told, if you speak at tech conferences, not to wear suits, or you're advised to, unless you're, from a finance background. So I think there's a lot to be said about wearing what you're comfortable with, as well. And I think that's really important as a speaker, to put you in the right frame of mind to be comfortable. You're not too conscious or subconsciously conscious of what you're wearing,
Yes.
therefore pulling out needless insecurities, right? If I just go with Stephen Bartlett's example, I'm not saying he thinks this, but he might put on a suit and think, I feel like a wanker. So he'll go on stage thinking he feels like a wanker. I'm not saying he said that, by the way, because he's not wearing something that's authentically him. So I think there's quite an interesting conversation to be had about style, about being comfortable, about being authentic. And the question you started with is, who are you dressing for? But as a speaker, you have to dress for the audience a little bit. You have to show up authentically you as well. So we do have to find the balance. So besides wearing heels, and things like that, what are some of the other mistakes you find speakers make, Rachel, when they go on stage?
Well, as I said, I think the main thing is just not taking enough time to, because the thing is, we all invest quite a large amount of money in ourselves when we're doing things like speaking, when we're doing things like presenting. Maybe the answer would be to hire a stylist.
Ooh,
That's the common
which
mistake.
stylist would we be talking about, Rachel?
Do you know anybody?
I can't imagine.
Jose? I think Jose would make an excellent stylist with his one button done up.
But you see also this whole sort of a concept of dressing down now, and of wearing tracksuits and things like this. Look, it depends which tracksuit too. Someone might be wearing a tracksuit. You get the rappers. I mean, they're wearing a tracksuit, but actually, when you discover the tracksuit is a 3,000-pound tracksuit, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think do you actually suddenly, if you normally wear suits and then you suddenly go on stage in a tracksuit, what does that actually mean? This is the other question. Are you actually, as you just said, are you being authentic? What is your lifestyle? What do you want to present to the world? How do you want to present today? And of course, the answer to that as well is that it depends what mood you're in as well. Because sometimes I'll go out in a skin tight jumpsuit and a pair of high heels, or sometimes I'll go out in a flared sort of 1950s dress with a little handbag and a kitten heel. It depends where I'm going and what mood I'm in. And I think it's the same thing. If you're presenting, what are you presenting? What's the topic that you're discussing at that time? So maybe it's important to have a variety of things in your wardrobe that you can wear for certain speaking occasions. Does
That's
that help?
interesting. Yeah.
Yes, on that very note, Rachel, because I was going to ask you, how can I actually then, for people out there listening to this as well, how can they align their dressing style with their topic, and yeah, what they
And their
tend to
mood.
speak about and who they are exactly as a speaker. But before we dive into that one, there is this thing that we tend to say, for instance, when we're creating a show reel for a speaker, what kind of a speaker do you want to be? And people say, imagine, I want to be a 10K speaker, a 20K speaker. So you will need a 20K speaker type of show reel that elevates you, that shows you to that level. So what would you say a speaker that wants to get paid 20K per gig should dress up like? Well, should dress like,
Me.
yeah. What kind of style should they have? Or you see where I'm coming from? I'm
I
heading to
see where
that
you're
level.
coming.
So yeah, how do
Yeah.
I want to be perceived? All of those questions. Where's the secret, that will work for that speaker if they're looking for the 20K, the 30K, the 40K?
Do you know what's really interesting? When you think about people like Tony Robbins, what he was wearing when he first started, what did we all think of Tony Robbins wearing? Now, funnily enough, when I think about it, I can't actually remember. I think he might have been wearing something shiny, like a shiny sort of suit of the day. He may have been. Can you remember what he was wearing?
I think he used to wear
I
suits.
think I wasn't in the industry when he came out, so I
Yeah, I
don't
mean, I
know.
think, when you look at a
You
lot
look
of
old,
these
you
things
too.
now, you've got your classic blue suits. Now, the blue is always a navy blue, or kind of like any sort of blue like that is it shows loyalty and it shows stability. If you have a navy blue suit, now you could either wear a shirt underneath it, a white shirt, or you can wear a t-shirt as long as it's a good quality shirt. You could wear something like that, and then you could wear a navy blue trainer, and then you could add a little bit of a detail of a color with a colored belt. But the colored belt needs to be something like an emerald or a red or an orange, or that kind of like Italian flavor to it. What I think is really important, it's not so much, oh, I want to be a 20K speaker or I want to be a 30K speaker. I think the important thing is getting back to the same thing as I said before, the originality of your dress, because what you're doing is you're promoting your idea and yourself. It's not so much that you're promoting to get, you're talking about the other end, a 20K or a 30K. What we're doing at this moment is we're making a path to show yourself. And so it's, again, we're getting back to, I'm repeating myself, the fact that you need to be who you are. Because there's no point if you go out and you buy a Gucci suit. Yeah, okay, you're going to go out and buy a Gucci suit, and then you're going to say, well, okay, because I'm wearing a Gucci suit, now I'm going to be a 100K speaker. It's not necessarily so. It may not suit you, that suit.
You can give
So
it to
there,
me
so
then.
the answer again is the same thing. I'm being tricky, but that really is the answer. The answer is to find your own identity before you do any of these things, 20, 30, 40, 50, as long as you're promoting your authentic self, that's where you'll make the money.
And I guess it's
Rachel,
also honoring.
I just want to highlight this bit, which I thought was beautiful as well for everyone else listening out there. It is a path to discovering yourself, I think you said, or to finding yourself. And that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I wanted
Yeah, I
to
mean, I'm not
add
trying
is,
not to answer the question, but it keeps coming back to the same
Absolutely.
thing.
Mm,
Very
yeah.
much like when Elliot is coaching you to be a motivational speaker, you have to speak your truth. There's no point looking at someone else and saying, "All right, I'm going to be like them," and bing, here I am. Hey, everyone will see through that. And it's the
yeah.
same thing with your clothing. You just need to take time.
And what I wanted to add, what I'm hearing, it's also you've got to honor who you are, which means your body shape, your skin color. You've got
Yeah.
to work with what you've got and stop wishing what you don't have. And and I
Yes.
think what I'm hearing you say as part of honoring yourself is learning what works for you, your shape, your skin color,
Yeah.
even your accent, right? What helps magnify you for what you are now, not what you wish to
Yes.
be. And do you
Yes.
find sometimes people dress for what they wish to be versus who they are now?
I think that the common mistake is them not wanting what they wish to be, but wanting to be someone else. That's the main
Right.
problem. They're looking at others and wanting to be like that. Now, like I said earlier, if you want to have advice, obviously you're going to ask a specialist for the advice, and it's the same thing with the clothing. You actually need to do some experimenting with yourself, and you need to take some expert advice, and you need to try these things out and then see what fits. Who knows? You may end up wearing a bright yellow shirt that you would never have worn. But actually, if you think that bright yellow shirt looks fantastic and you really are feeling it, you're going to be a lot more on point than you are if you're wearing, maybe something that you would have worn before, like a wishy-washy kind of olive colored shirt. Sounds
Wow.
bonkers, I know, but
No, it sounds
it's
very
really
interesting.
it's all about being confident. It's all about feeling like you really own what you're wearing.
I love this. I
Well,
love this.
as you were saying that, Rachel, thank you so much. Sorry,
He's
Elliot.
imagining himself in yellow underwear.
No, I didn't. No, I don't. Well, we're supposed to do that in Venezuela. There's a tradition, yellow underwear to welcome the new year. But this is not the case. I
See,
was
I'm
thinking
not racist.
as you were saying this, Rachel, I picture myself with like a very shiny red jacket with a black collar, something like that. So, and
You
it's very different to the colors I usually wear. But I felt in my mind, I felt really comfortable actually walking on a stage like that. So there is something in there, absolutely, to go into that uniqueness of each one of us.
look, another way with colors, a lot of people get quite frightened by color. Although at the moment there is a sea of color in all the stores, so that's a good thing. But one thing with color is if you stand, as long as you're by a mirror that is a daylight adjusted mirror, i.e., you can see in daylight, if you hold the color up directly underneath your chin, under your jawline, you can then, when you look in the mirror, you can see the difference the effects of color make on your skin complexion. So,
So that's
there's all
why
these
you do that.
consultations, and all the rest of it. But actually, if you get an item of clothing and you hold it like you've just done with doing up your collar there, you've made a very different look than if you've got your skin showing. Yeah. So, yeah, you see, look at the difference of Elliot now with the black directly under the jawline is completely different than your skin tone. Yeah. So this is something, just as a quick top tip, if you're going to wear something that's a color, that's a bright color, hold it up underneath your chin, look into the mirror and have a look around your eye area and around the mouth area and see the effect of the shade throwing up against your face.
Wow, I mean, that is definitely next level advice, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you very
Because
much for
also
that
the
one. Yeah,
next,
because those are the things I can look at, because otherwise I look at myself in the mirror. Yes, no, based on what? So I'm loving that. Thank you.
Well,
well,
this is
you
the other
led
thing,
beautifully
look,
into the next section. I was going to say,
yes.
because the next section, I was going to say, what are 3 tips that people can do? So we talked about what not to do, and you've already beautifully led into that. So if you want to give a couple more, I'd love to hear a couple more. But my next really quick question is: have you ever looked at someone like Jose and gone, "Oh no, I can't help them. Sorry, I'm out. Here's your refund. I'm gone." No, I'm joking.
What
Of
does it
course,
have to
you've
be
never
looking
done.
at? You-
Because who else would I say that? But on a serious note, what are a couple of extra tips people can do?
Okay, top tips. Look at him giggling.
I missed this podcast so much. While Elliot was on holiday, I was working, of course, like some of us do, and I missed it. I missed it.
Yes, it's
I missed
about
the guests.
proportions. Okay, yes, it's about
precaution?
proportions. These stores these days, everyone wants to sell everything, okay? So they're going to help you. People like Mospros even. If you're wearing a suit, the right length of jacket. If you're short, you don't wear a really long jacket, because what's going to happen is you've got your short and then you've got a long jacket, which is then ending up below your waistline. And then all it looks like is a long, long body with some little legs underneath. So the proportions of your clothing are really important. The length of your jacket, the fit of your jacket, whether it be boxy or whether it be fitted on you. These are the things that you need to look for. Even in simple stores like Marks and Spencer's, if you go in there and you have a look at the suits, they'll say tailored, slim fit, skinny fit. Try on all those different jackets and see the proportions of your body, whether it's making you look taller or whether it's making you look shorter. So that's a really big thing as well. Same thing with jeans. There are so many jean departments now. You can just go in and you can try on lots and lots of jeans. Try on the ones that, that maybe you haven't tried before. So that's another top tip. Try to push yourself out of your comfort zone just a few times, just to see if something different happens that actually resonates with you and that you actually like. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's another top tip.
Yeah,
Love
definitely.
it. Love it. Jose, before we wrap this up and allow Rachel to go back to her normal day and
Don't
doing the
make me
amazing
go. I
work
want
she
to be the
does.
weekly one who comes on.
You know what? There's probably room for the weekly stylist tip. I don't know. I
I
mean, are
would
you
love that.
available every
Everyone could
Monday
send
between
in their
3 and 5?
style questions.
Hey,
They could
Yeah,
send their
yeah.
style. I could be the agony style aunt.
Yeah, well, that could be very dangerous territory to enter if you become the agony style aunt. But yeah, there's certainly probably room for style suggestion of the week or the month.
I
We can
think it
certainly
would be
talk about
very
that
good.
offline. I think that'd be really nice. I'm thinking we should also incorporate joke of the week. I think that'd be quite funny, Jose, that we all bring a joke.
Joke of the
And,
week.
to kind of have a section. Today's joke of the week is, but we can talk about that again offline. So, Rachel, how do people reach out to you? Where do they go? Please plug away your Instagram, your TikToks, the lot, your website, your bank
Thank
account
you.
details, the lot. No, don't do that. But
Thank you. So my Instagram page is Rachel Gold Stylist _ and my TikTok is Rachel Gold Stylist. And I give lots of top tips. I style both men and women. I'm going to be having some courses coming up, which will be all about how to declutter your wardrobe. For men's styling, I'm going to be doing decluttering your wardrobe and also how to create the capsule wardrobe so that every time you open your wardrobe, every single piece goes with every other piece.
Oh yeah,
So that's going to be
yeah,
fantastic,
like yin
guys.
and
dream come
yang,
true.
baby. Woo, 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 woo. Awesome. So just repeat those handles again for us, please.
So it's Rachel Gold Stylist, and it's RACHEL Gold Stylist _ for my Instagram. And also for my TikTok, it's Rachel Gold Stylist. Again, RACHEL Gold Stylist.
And your website?
And the website is rachelgoldstyles.com.
Stylist
_
stylist styles. Excellent. Jose, any final thoughts? Any last words before we wrap this up?
Well, it's not going to be a last thought. So I've got so much in here still that I want to unpack. So I want to talk to Rachel. Rachel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
everything. Look, I think a final bit. What would you recommend? Because nowadays we tend to be online a lot. What we cover would be like, how to dress up fully when you go out there on the stage. But then what would be your best tips, even if you give us 2 or 3, and then we wrap up and say goodbye to you for online stuff?
Again, what you've done is very clever today. Very clever. You've got a great color. You've done the top button up. What Elliot's done is also, it's an interesting look because he's got a light color underneath a dark jacket. I do not suggest wearing black. I think that black is very harsh for most people. There you go. Look.
Hey, yeah, come on.
Navy
Shiny, baby.
blue.
Go away, black jacket. That's it. It's on the shit list now.
Navy blue is always a good one. A shirt, leave it open a little bit. If you're wearing a collared shirt, a smart collared shirt, a button down shirt can be very good also. With
Okay.
t-shirts, make sure if you're very chesty, okay, if you've got a v-neck, a slight v-neck, that's a very good look as well. Yeah, because then you're going to see a little bit more skin directly underneath your chin.
Oh, you would recommend V-neck? Okay, interesting.
Just not too low, because otherwise you're going to look like you're naked.
And then people will
We
see
don't
your
want
hair.
that.
Yeah. No,
But
but
layering,
I-
like
hairy
Elliot
chest.
had, was great. You know, that's a really good look. You wear a jacket and then you wear something underneath the jacket. Very good.
But not
Yeah.
black. Okay. And wear my
Yeah,
fluorescent
Not
good
black,
point,
green.
good
guys. No,
point.
no black,
No
guys.
black.
It's too
Okay.
harsh.
Okay.
Okay, good
Cool.
point. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Amazing
Okay, well
tips.
then,
Just remember,
Amazing,
dress to your
Rachel.
authentic self, guys. Try it out. And girls, same thing. Try out all of these things and find what really fits you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, Rachel, thank you. I think Jose is you have a new raving fan, and I'm sure
Thank
he'll be in
Um,
touch.
yeah,
he
Rachel, this
starts
doesn't
harassing
happen.
you,
This
let me
doesn't
know.
happen with everybody. No, I will never text you. I only connected with your LinkedIn and now on every other social media handle and messaging your website.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I thank you so much for giving up your time
you,
to
yeah.
share your knowledge, your expertise with us. And more than anything, to everybody out there who's listened to this on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on the various platforms, whenever you're listening to this, please remember this. At the end of the day, there's only one version of yourself. And
Exactly.
when you are thinking what to wear, when you're thinking what to put on, remember that you're dressing for yourself. Honor your curves, honor your skin, honor your look, be authentic, be real, and then you will get the opportunities and the response you want that is real. And that comes from Rachel Gold with her gold tip today. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for being with us. Till the next time, people. Thank you for listening to